Hello all. So let's continue from our previous lecture. That's the first lecture about the introduction of the smart cities. So welcome you again for this. So smart cities, we already discussed like what were the different aspects or the challenges that we will be handling it by developing a system. So which is basically IoT based system and with a lot of sensors and data intelligent part of it, including AI models, etc. So let's see that how can we consider smart cities as a strategic solution. So these smart cities have emerged in the response for this rapid urbanization, which we discussed like in terms of statistics globally, and then for the kind of population growth that's happening especially in the Asia. So let me explain some of the key drivers. Like if you see that traditional cities, they face several challenges, especially with respect to resources scarcity, like water scarcity, like limited hours of water supply, or energy scarcity. And with the recent climate change, a lot of disasters are happening, and then pollution. We know how Delhi is facing the air pollution, air quality aspects, and of course these are all creating lot of stress on the infrastructure. So the smart cities, they offer specific benefits. So let's see like what were those things which we can understand. So the benefits includes that reduced energy consumption. You can see here there is a reduced energy consumption because it has been monitored, and some smart system has been built especially for resource utilization. It can be water or it can be power, and lower carbon emission by optimizing the transportation and reducing waste, and they decrease overall city waste through a kind of circular economy approach, and most importantly they can improve the quality of life of the people through that this is most important for where like there is a better services, safety and environmental conditions can be improved, so that the smart cities are not just by adding technology or some kind of digital infrastructure, they are actually solving the real urban problem, okay, by making it more sustainable and highly inclusive way. So next is coming to the importance of this. As I said, like why are these important? Like let me break down into 7 key reasons to make it more precise. First, they provide seamless and transparent service to urban population. Say like if in a community, if there are 2 people and in a house, and there were 8 people living in a house, but both of them are paying the same amount of water charges. So it is not actually kind of transparent services, right? So based on usage we can have it. If you have a system which can monitor the quantity of water, whatever they are using it, so these kind of things can help them to make it more transparent service, so that they can pay whatever they used it. And also the citizens can access the government services 24/7 through some digital platforms. Second, they can use this technology across critical sectors, especially education. We have seen e-learning, especially because of this COVID, how that e-learning, online education has been increased, like what we are doing also in NPTEL, etc. So health, so telemedicines, because in some remote areas, so doctors are interacting with the sick people, and then telemedicine have been coming up. Transportation, which is intelligent transportation systems have been developed. Communication, so if you see that connectivity, connecting every corner through digital technologies. So all this makes the people to make it more welfare, like digital payments, how it improved, like for different kinds of subsidies for people, like every section of the people. So third, they employ decentralization and participatory governance. So smart cities includes a smart governance as well, so which can bring decision making closer to the grassroots. So and communities, especially every section of the people, because in India we have people from every section, right? We have lot of variation in terms of occupation, socio-economic, cultural. So we can bring this governance to closer communities. And then the fourth one is like there is the quality of life through this smart infrastructure and smart governance. So better lighting, cleaner air, safer streets, and then which can promote socio and human development through investment in good things like education, skills, so that the society can grow. So which will in a sustainable growth, okay, through these smart systems, smart resource management systems. Finally they can create efficient urban local bodies, okay. So then there is some complaint, so water is not coming, so some electricity is not there, so the community will complain to that service provider. So there will be a kind of transparent and immediate response. It's not like there is no system where to complaint or register the complaint, okay. So something like that, so everyone can see that. Or if a somewhere pipe is leaking, water is wasting, so that person can see that, and there is a system where he can give a lat long through Google Map or something, and that will directly go to the concerned service provider, which can make it more better, or they can attempt that in doing some repair, or restoring some kind of things. So if you see here the smart city, so it's basically built on these 4 core themes. The first one is the most important one, is the society. A city, it serves as the inhabitants and the citizens, and this is just not an infrastructure, okay. It is about creating a vibrant community where people want to live. And then second one is economy, so which is a continuous, we have a job growth, and there will be economic development, because the different sections of the people, if they are having a proper facilities, then there will be a lot of new businesses can be invested and something like that. And then third is environment. We see here cities must function more sustainable than for not just for our generation, and of course looking at the futuristic generation. And also when we are designing such kind of systems, we should be sensitive to take it environmental sensitive, like there is a if you are building a new infrastructure or a new community, you have to take care of that life around that, like there are trees around, or some kind of animals are there, so these kind of things. So then the fourth one is basically the governance, which is more robust, and this is a policy administration, so combining all these elements, which are basically service providers of the stakeholders and something like this, okay. So next one is, like, as we say that technology as a central role. If you see this figure, so digital information and communication technology, as actually it's not just important, it's a foundational to the smart cities. So let's be clear, technology alone does not make a city smart, okay. So the technology enables the smartness. So what is that key technological elements, which includes like IoT, like Internet of Things, big data, and which enable this efficient and responsive city operations. So we should have this, like sensors or some kind of sensor network which are embedded into the physical infrastructure, like when you are constructing it in the pipeline, water distribution pipeline in your house. So there may be already sensors which are inverted, or in your electric of your whatever the wiring that people have done it, so there may be some sensors, so which create real time monitoring capabilities. And also this like even like if you know that the traffic, so there are some traffic sensors, like to water quality monitoring. So these are ICT infrastructure, and they act as a nerve center connecting the different components, like we have different nodes, and where different nodes, there are different kinds of sensors have been there, and then they will be giving the data to a particular central unit, and from there, like it will process. So there is software application process, and also analyze these kind of large data. So there is a big data concept for this urban data flows, and then they are turning this raw data into some actionable insights, like there is some kind of analysis, data analytics course. And then the critical point is how we are integrating these various smart city elements. So if you see here from the figure, we have like data collection. So from different sensors the data keeps coming, and then that get transmitted, and then finally there will be analytics part of it, like data analytics. I'm sorry. So and then this data will be raw data will be analyzed, and then they will be having like data storage systems, where like a lot of data can be processed, and then it will be stored. And finally you can see here there is another thing which I'd like to bring. What are the different concepts of like contrast, I can say, traditional versus smart cities. So if you see here the several dimensions we have it in service delivery. The traditional cities are just manual based and they are slow because there is a human response, communication is involved, and whereas in smart cities they are highly automated and real time system, the real time digital system. So you get the data on real time and the decision has been made on real time, and then you know that everything performance also goes immediately. So in data management, if you see, it is scattered in traditional cities because people used to make the records of like any complaints or any kind of requirement, you know, people like water supply system departments or electricity department or whoever it is in a kind of setup, city setup. So they manage it in a traditional way, like, you know, maybe by entering something maximum to in a system. So but in governance, the traditional cities, they employ this kind of hierarchical things, centralized decision making. There is somebody who will take a decision, and whereas in smart cities, so these are all like participatory and mostly they are data driven, and which will help us in reducing lot of, you know, time, etc. So providing the services. So if you look at the resource management perspective, so the traditional cities, they expect high wastage and inefficiency, whereas in smart cities approach, it optimizes. That is a major key element in this one, through proper automation and monitoring. So also with respect to the citizen interaction, if you see, smart cities actively manage carbon, water and waste in a lot of innovation, and you know, whereas in traditional cities they are basically slow, and whereas like, you know, which may create like, you know, lot of delays and other things. Okay, so how do we know that, like, you know, this city is actually smart? Okay, so there are some standard ISO standard guidelines, so which provide a framework here. So if you see here with you know, 100 city key performance indicators, so there are actually 46 core indicators that every citizen should track. Okay, so here, and there are 54 supporting indicators. So if you see here some of the indicators here in terms of economy, how the GDP is growing and how the employment rate is increasing, how the inequality, income inequality, and then coming to the education literacy rate, how many schools have been, you know, enrollment, and then student teacher ratio, that data also will be considered. Then coming to the energy, what is the percentage of renewable energy generated and what is the energy consumption per capita. So these are the metrics with respect to energy. And then coming to the environment, CO2 emission per capita, air quality index. You might have seen at some of the junctions, people, we have the sensors, like at least in some locations in Indore, we have like, you know, this is the air quality index at that particular, you know, traffic signal. So we might have seen this. So air, and then how much waste recycling rate is happening. So then benchmarking metrics, like, you know, global average comparisons. So of course, like, you know, we have different communities with different socio-economical, cultural. This is not just, you know, same scale to compare, but we have some kind of metrics here, like regional peer comparison and historical trend comparison. So all these things we can compare to make some kind of metrics to understand how smart the cities are, you know, performing. So here are some more 8 key components of these smart cities. Like we can see here, there is a smart infrastructure, and which is basically a physical backbone. Okay, we need infrastructure like roads, we need water supply network system, and we need electric grids for energy transfer or power supply. So and then IoT enabled structures. So smart transportation, so which involves integrated intelligent mobility transportation system, smart energy, and which basically relates to reliable sources and efficient distribution network, and you know, making it more smart based upon the need and other parameters is one of the very important thing. Smart healthcare, so which uses telemedicines, as I previously explained, or digital health records. Like if someone goes there and if I give my mobile number, so my complete history of my health related problems, so everything, the database should come. So like if any person goes to any part of the country and with some health problem, his data should be available somewhere. So that means like no need to repeat the test, so no need to again ask for a lot of information and something like that. So this smart healthcare, this is already there in some places. And then smart technology is basically a digital infrastructure which is enabling everything else. Okay, and then governance, smart governance, which ensures transparent and efficient administration, which is very crucial for citizens. And of course, to have all that, citizens should also be smart. So that means they should be educated, they should be engaged, they should be sensitive to the environment and with sustainability concept, and they should also have some kind of technology literacy. So then they can use this advanced systems. And here are something very important: cities don't need all 8 components to be considered smart. Then it depends on their specific need, like and then resources, or in the context where they want to make the city smart. So a wealthy city might invest heavily on smart energy and transportation, while a developing city like Indore, I can say, might prioritize smart governance and digital services. Especially we have an app in Indore, okay, for city. So if there is any problem, so that can be posted there and something like that. We also have some kinds of apps like about the buses, public buses, so where the buses is coming, how next bus will come in how much time, etc. So these kind of things like can be combined, and it also depends upon cost and available technology that we have it. So what matters to us is now having an highly integrated approach, so which is rather than isolated projects. Like if you really want to build all that, so we should have a smart infrastructure and smart buildings, and then proper ITS based transportation, smart energy systems, smart healthcare systems, and more than that, like we should have a system for smart governance. So let's see that like challenges. Okay, so it's not easy to build a city with so much diversity in social, economical and cultural as any city, Indian city. So to make all the key components that I discussed. So but the major challenge is like basically cost, because there are a lot of sensors and there are a lot of digital infrastructure required, and there's a high initial investment is like something very important to note it up. And of course there is a operational like expenses also, because it has to be operationally efficient. Then the second one is like efficiency, achieving this optimal resource utilization. So like, okay, I get the data, and how I'm going to use the data and make some decision support which can be used to make the more effective delivery for the citizens. So in all these things, like the long term environmental aspect, that one we have to keep it is the act of sustainability. Sustainability comes in terms of everything. It starts from the material that we use in terms of its analysis, design, the sustainability concepts has to be inbuilt in every part of the system building. Then communication, so and ensuring universal connectivity and access, like everyone should have that access to that internet, or like they should be having that smartphones or whatever kind of thing. Safety, security. So when you have so much of data, obviously protecting this citizens' information is another very crucial thing in terms of data safety and security, and inclusivity, preventing digital divide and social exclusion. So these are some of the challenges so generally faced. And what is the role of private sector? Now we know that lot of projects people are going with PPP mode. So that means partnerships. It's not like only it's a responsibility of the government or particular administration to take care of this or to build this. The private sector plays a central and sometimes very crucial role in smart cities. We have a lot of companies like IBM, Cisco, and there are a lot of other technological giants that we have invested heavily in smart cities. So like we have Mahindra. So they are all working towards building the systems and coming up with lot of innovation in the technology, so which can bring that private sector. It also bring capital because initial cost for this is more, and then they also bring the technology expertise and of course innovation. However, if you see this, the focus from government, okay, so the corporate prioritizes efficiency and economic development and of course the profit part of it. So there is a business model which is viewing the cities as a commodity, and that is to be innovatively conceived as we have a produced, packaged and marketed. And then the private sector also focuses on integrating this high technology with built environment to create surplus value. So some builder is there, so they are integrating this smart sensing, smart governance part of it in the community, like an apartment or something, and this will be their value addition when they are going for selling their apartments or their houses, etc. So these are the things. So these questions highlight how government regulation and citizen participation are very, very essential counterbalances to this private sector leadership in the entire smart city development part of it. So let me go back to some examples of global smart cities like Vienna. So I just brought some of the examples over here. This is to highlight you. So Vienna combines smart energy management with digital governance, consistently ranking among the world's most livable city. And then we have Toronto, where the smart technology innovation centers and partnerships with universities, which is one of the very interesting case study. And then we have Paris, which focuses on innovation and green city initiatives, and particularly in sustainable transportation. Singapore is one of the classic example how they built the city, and now they are going city below the city, right, underground, so which makes it clean, highly organized and technological city. So where 2.7 tons CO2 per capita emission. And then Barcelona, it leads actually in energy efficiency and low carbon solution, especially this can happen basically with the involvement of the citizens. So this is one of the very crucial thing. So community involvement is something very, very crucial, and this can achieve when they have the proper information, and of course some sort of initiatives from the government should be taken in making them educated about what is the concern and issues that this can be happen. So then one of the common features you can also see here is digital governance, renewable energy, innovation ecosystem, and either partnering with citizens or with the universities, etc. So these are the some of the very classic examples that we have in one of the best smart cities across the globe. Let's see the Indian perspective. So if you see the Indian smart city context presently, so India faces very unique urban challenges. We know that currently we have 31% around urban population, they are living in cities, and with an annual urban growth rate of around 2.43%. So that means which is a significant but manageable as well, if you can take care some initiatives. However, our cities are currently they are contributing 63% of our GDP, and which is expected to go to 75% by the year 2030. So this means that urban centers are the development directly impacts our national prosperity also. So that means the government of India's response is ambitious, planning around 100 smart cities across the nation. Okay, where lot of efforts have been went from government of India. These aren't separate cities, but they are rather in kind of smart zones within the existing or new urban areas. So the strategy involves multi-layer territorial systems which are bringing together knowledge intensive activities, and the focus is basically on sustainable and economic growth with the improved quality of life for the citizens who are living in that city. Unlike developed countries where smart city investments, they represent incremental improvement, whereas India's smart cities must deliver basic services like water, electricity, sanitation, while simultaneously it has to integrate the advanced technologies into it. So that is our challenge, and we cannot just bring the best model from some other part of the country, from world, to just here and then replicate it, because our challenges are very, very different on the ground. So this makes the Indian approach particularly very interesting as well as very, very challenging, as it must address infrastructure deficits and also modern solutions simultaneously has to be integrated along with our growth. So I just want to bring some of the key takeaways here. So finally, at the end of this particular lecture, so we have discussed a lot, like what is the definitions in terms of smart city. So I just want to give you the last concluding for this particular lecture. So a smart city is basically an urban area which is using ICT and the sustainable infrastructure to address several urban challenges that we have, to improve the services and to enhance the quality of life through very highly integrated and efficient and participatory kind of system with the citizens. So the essential elements includes like technology integration, IoT, big data, ICT, which we already discussed, and but technology as a tool and is not just enough. Okay, it's not an end. So second, like we have to have a very high participation, that is citizen participation, and also system for smart governance. So where like cities are for the people and the people must be involved. So and the third aspect is basically the sustainable and highly inclusive development, which will ensure the growth. So they're not just harming the environment, it should actually go in a very, very inclusive kind of approach. So finally, with all that, like we can achieve the economic growth with highly environmental responsibility, so that the prosperity can be achieved without any ecological degradations, and then this also can be achieved with a proper PPP mode, public private partnership modes, recognizing that both sectors contribute very crucial elements. So in working with this kind of smart city developments, so which can serve people more effectively and then also build more sustainable communities for the future.